EAPC's first roundtable discussion. I'm Susan Wand, the Vice Chair of EAPC from the Alumni School. I hope all of you are well and good during these unprecedented times. Well, today is a rather unprecedented day, isn't it? It has been raining since yesterday, so it's a cold, cozy, comfy Tuesday morning to start a great discussion, and I hope all of you will enjoy and benefit from this section. Before we start out, I just like to give an overview of the number of participants that we have. In audience today, we have colleagues from various universities and international schools in Malaysia who manage alumni relations, marketing, admissions, development, student services, and we even have some directors in this group itself. There are 11 private universities and 4 international schools in Malaysia with 27 registered participants. Before we start, I would actually like to do introductions of what EAPC is all about, which is the reason why you are here for this roundtable discussion. EAPC stands for Education Advancement Professionals Committee of Malaysia. It was established on 8 January last year by a group of volunteers. The objective of the group is to act as an advocate to the development of the advancement professionals in Malaysia through sharing of knowledge and best practices in alumni relations, fundraising, marketing, communications, admissions by working closely with various stakeholders. Our purpose is to seek industry best practices in advancement from established institutions and to adopt it into work in line with the requirements of the working institutions of the members. That's why we are having this very first roundtable discussion. We hope to seek the support and have collaborations with suitable stakeholders with the aim of maintaining the relevancy of this committee. Since being established about a year, we already have 2 past events jointly organized together with CASE, that stands for Council for Advancement and Support for Education. Hence, seizing this opportunity, we hope the participants will register and become a member of EAPC. Now, the running order of today's event is that after this, you will be break into 3 respective groups. 2 of it is actually going to be the universities that will be moderated by Sue Ann, our colleague from Sunway University, Rizwan from Monash University, and Indu from International Medical University. So participants who are in the universities category, you will be automatically break up to 2 different sections. As for the international school, you will go into 1 breakup sections moderated by Lynette from ISKL and myself. It will happen for about 45 minutes. And during the breakout sessions, we highly recommend everyone to share your experiences of what you are doing in managing your alumni relations during these unprecedented times. It could be something that you are doing currently with your alumni, or it could be something that you learned from your webinars or heard from your other colleagues from the industry. It's going to be an informal, free flow sections that enables everyone, to do it at the same time. Lastly, we will then converge 5 minutes before 11. We will then converge back into the main room where Jennifer, the chair of EAPC, will start to do the closing remarks. Having said that, I hope all of you will enjoy the sections. Make the best use of the next 45 minutes in order to share, which is the main purpose of EAPC. All right. Our colleague Iman will actually now break us back into the respective rooms. So there will be 3 rooms altogether, moderated by the respective colleague, and we will be coming back again to the main room. Off to you, Iman.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Hi.
Everyone can
Morning.
Hello, morning.
Is this all of us? I think Jennifer is supposed to be in this group, I think. Is it, Suen?
I think Shanira has reassigned because of the numbers.
Okay. Just a moment, guys. Let me just see the list on who else is supposed to be here. Well, I think it's okay. We're missing a few people, but I guess they'll come in a bit later. Yeah. So, welcome everyone to I think this is our first, is it our first ever? Maybe second EAPC event. But I think first one in the MCO at least. And it's a good introduction into how we all have to adjust to a new work style, working from home, and getting used to having to Zoom every day and not being able to, opt out of meetings anymore because it's Zoom. So look, I think we should just start off by getting everyone to introduce themselves very briefly. Just state what's your name and which university you're from. I think that should be enough, and then we can continue on to our discussions. So I'll start off with myself. My name is Rizwan. I'm with the Monash University Malaysia External Engagement Team. As part of external engagement, we manage as well alumni engagement, which is why I'm part of this committee. And I'm very happy to help moderate this university session. All right, so I guess we'll move on to Sue-Ann first, and then we'll go on to the rest.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sue-Ann. I'm from Sunway University, and I oversee the alumni relations team as well as the cultural exchange team. So for alumni relations, we manage both for the university as well as the college. So it's not just one group of students. So we have a wide variety that we are of alumni that we are dealing with. So let me pass it on to Masna.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Mazna, and I'm from University Teknologi Petronas. So generally, I am holding as a head of the Alumni Relations Office. So we do a lot of engagements as usual, and we're also focusing on advancements. And for the time during this MCO period, we are focusing more on connecting alumni to our students to see how alumni can contribute and support UTP in helping out students who got stranded on campus, and also those who are living nearby UTP. Okay, that's all from me.
Fantastic. I guess can we move on to Bika?
Hi, good morning. My name is Nora Bika. Just call me Bika. I'm from Multimedia University, and I'm currently in University Social Responsibility.
Oh.
So before this, I was in Center for Alumni. So I'm kind of in transition mode right now.
Interesting. Thank you for that sharing. I guess we can move to Shahira.
Hello.
Hi.
You can just call me Shifa. I am from Yayasan University Teknologi Petronas, and I am in charge of communication and giving for the foundation.
Great, thank you. Who wants to go next? Karine.
Okay. Hi. Hi everyone. So I'm Karine. I'm from Sunway College. Sue-Ann is my boss. Okay. So basically, I'm handling more on events for alumni and also social media engagement. Okay. So who's the next?
Thanks, Karine.
Marvina?
Yeah, Marvin.
Hi, good morning. My name is Marvin. Sue-Ann is my boss also.
Oh.
So I'm from basically I'm from the alumni relation team for Sunway University. So my role is more of engaging the alumni for university and also for college to build the everlasting relationship with them and to engage them to see what is their activities or how can we connect with them for any collaboration effort.
Thanks, Marvin. So I guess we're left with Ashraf.
Hi, hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Ashraf, and I'm from International Medical University. And I don't think my boss is here. Is Indu here? No. Okay. So yeah.
You're free to speak.
So I'm from IMU. So we are under one office, Alumni Relations Office, which is part under Student Services Hub. And unfortunately, I cannot show my face right now because my hair is a little bit crazy. Haven't had a haircut in a while. So yeah, so that's all for me.
That's okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for introducing yourselves. Let's move on to every one of us sharing in terms of what we've been doing so far for alumni engagement, specifically during this time of the MCO. It's okay if you don't have anything that you're doing. You can talk about as well plans for the future or during the MCO if you have any ideas. So I'll start off with myself. So at Monash University, as you know, Monash University Malaysia is part of the larger Monash University group in Australia. We are the biggest international campus of Monash, and Malaysia represents quite a large portion of the alumni market. We have about, I think right now, 18 or 19,000 Malaysia-based alumni. So that means those who have graduated from the Malaysia campus, as well as those who are from Australia campus and moved back to Malaysia. So it's quite a large group. You can imagine that, with a large group, it's easy to form engagements. There are challenges. Yes, it's quite easy because there's numbers, but at the same time, Australia is very, very picky when it comes to data protection. So we can't simply email out or inform people of events willy-nilly. It has to go through a very stringent process, and it has to be a month in advance. So there in itself is a challenge for us. So in terms of what we're doing is, Australia is leading right now a few engagements, online engagements. One of it is something called Connections for Change. So this is where we're calling on a few senior and prominent alumni, as well as those who are in business, entrepreneurs and all that, to share their recordings and interviews with them on the alumni portal in terms of questions that are asked by a few other alumni. So it's sharing of knowledge of their own area and how they are coping and adapting to the MCO or to the COVID-19 crisis. So that way, alumni all around the world can learn from everyone else in one platform. So that's one of the things that we're doing. Aside from that, there's also the alumni to alumni mentoring program that's led by Australia as well. In Malaysia itself, we rely very heavily on our alumni networks right now. Centrally, we don't have a lot going. We are planning right now with Sunway University a Monash Sunway Alumni Games event, which we do every year. But since there's the MCO this year, we can't do it physically. So right now we're planning something virtual. Maybe having a virtual run, having a fitness challenge, and also having esports. We're considering that. I think League of Legends, we're looking into that. So those are some of the things that we're doing with Sunway University. And maybe hopefully after this, if we could maybe get together, maybe we could, the rest of us, collaborate and do something with our alumni as well. Now, sorry, I'm taking a bit of time here. I just want to talk about our alumni a little bit in terms of the networks. When I said we are relying heavily on the networks, is because they are very proactive in coming up with initiatives and ideas, specifically the Business Alumni Chapter. And I think when the initiative comes from the alumni, when it's driven by the alumni, it has more value, and it just runs better because it's run by them, and that it's going to work because you already have buy-in, right? And because they have a good network with the other alumni, so in terms of spreading the word, in terms of getting people to join the programs, it's a lot easier. So they've actually put up a comprehensive calendar of activities for the next few months, you know, which includes social media posts, you know, Zoom lepak sessions, which they do, I think, at once every 2 weeks. That's a very informal thing where you just gather and just talk, you know, shoot the breeze. And then you have they have podcasts, and they also have webinars and forums planned. So I'll stop now. That's basically what Monash University is doing in Malaysia as well in Australia. If you have further questions, if you have questions about specifically what we're doing, you can raise them a bit later. So I'll give the opportunity for the rest to you know, contribute. So maybe we can move to Sue-Ann.
I'm gonna get my team members to share. So maybe we can just talk a bit about what are the different things that we are already doing. So maybe Corinne can share first.
Okay, so our site for the so-called past month already lah. We did some online live session on our Facebook and Instagram. So we kind of like every week do a live session on, like, we have like few teams on professional and personal development. So past few weeks we have like talking about career, about entrepreneur, barista, and also book sharing session. So later today we also having one alumna. She's going to share on baking skills. So besides this live session, we also have so-called like a campaign help our alumni businesses. It's kind of a support those our alumni who are in F&B and essential business. So we reach out to them and see whether we can help them to like shout out their current promotion or something like special MCOs promo for them and shout out to on our page. And we try to help them to reach more alumni to help their business. So far, we did have some positive response that some our alumni are interested to help out. And actually today, our alumni also, like, because we reached out to her, like helping her business in bakery. So today she like willing to help us to do a tutorial. Yeah, that's all from me.
I think one thing to add on to that is because we are using these different ways during MCO, we are trying to engage alumni in virtual means, and one of those was to, like Corinne said, support those who might be facing challenges in their businesses, and those which are open. So to support them by doing some publicity for them. But through that, we've also discovered new things, which is the one which Corinne mentioned is by promoting one of our alumnus, bakery has agreed now to come back and do like a sharing session for us. And on top of that, we also worked with one of promote their grocery delivery business. But by doing that, we also managed to create a partnership because we too have students who are stuck on campus or around campus with a lack of access to groceries or funds. So from that initial conversation, we got to partner with him to then deliver groceries to our students who are currently stuck. So I think it creates new opportunities by starting off with something we've been able to then leverage on it and then create other opportunities as well for further collaboration.
That's actually a great idea. Actually, I might steal that idea. In terms of working with alumni and, you know, supporting their businesses, I think that's a good idea. So okay, thanks for that.
Martin, maybe you can just share a bit extra.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen, for sharing, and Suen for adding in. I think for my side itself, I think it's more of like you say, what is the difference that we are trying to do now. I think the traditional way of us doing is where we always have events on the ground where we engage people personally. you know, where we, you know, when we have events or networking events, but this time is something different where we have to leverage on technology. And also for what I've currently added, I think my plans is more of the future where we are currently looking at more of a alumni podcast session, because individually for me, I was a student in Sunway, so we're trying to have some like alumni to alumni heart-to-heart talk session where we discuss on essential topics, or we discuss on any events or activity that can really help or relate to other alumni in outside, where these topics really will give them inner thoughts or allow them to reflect and really to share out what are their concerns or any ways to improve in a certain agenda. So that's usually what we plan to do for the podcast session. As another thing is what we're looking at is a networking mixer, which is a virtual networking mixer, where this is an event where we will engage a focus group where we separate according to industry, where each month itself, where we allocate to be hosting for certain industry. And in the industry itself, we will connect a key representative. So the key representative role is to basically is to chair the event. And also within the event itself, there will be a key representative who will be sharing of topics or certain program where it will benefit other people or other participants who is related to the industry. For example, if it's in communication or multimedia, we can say what is the power of communication or multimedia during this pandemic era. So what are the key things or what are the things to take note? So I think this allows and gives the platform to alumni to share and also mingle around with the people from the similar industry. And what we plan to do is to build the numbers from that certain industry, and it is a sustainability plan. Like for example, this group is a pioneer group. Then for example, there's other juniors or students who graduate, then who can join the group after that, who once they are graduated. So these are the two key initiatives they are looking at in the future. They're able to solidify the alumni engagement virtually. And yeah, that's what I want to share.
Thank you for sharing, Marvin. I have a question for you, but I'll ask that later. I'll get the rest to share as well first. Maybe we can hear from UTP. I have a question first, though. What is the difference between UTP and Yayasan UTP?
Yeah, UTP Alumni Relations Office is one office for the alumni, and Yayasan is the is like a funding part. Is it right, Shifa?
Yeah,
it's
we are
funding
funding arm of the university.
Yeah.
So you two separate offices.
We work two separate offices, but we work together, especially in advancements roles, in getting funding and do campaigns.
Okay, so maybe we can hear from UTP in terms of what you've been doing or plans during this MCO.
All right. So Shifa, can I start first, Shifa?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think ideally when I hear from the rest of the friends is more or less is the same. We are very used to having events and having a personal day-to-day physical meetings and engagement with our alumni. So with this restriction is a bit challenging, but I would say it's quite interesting when we are doing it online. At the first place, I was expecting low support from my alumni, but it turned out to be another way around. For example, when we launched a campaign to collect donations to help our students who are still on campus and those who are really in needs, within only like 2 weeks, we managed to have 50K donated to Yayasan UTP. To UTP with the help of Yayasan and also other departments. So that shows that alumni with high sense of belonging would really be able to support university at all times. All right. Same goes to like other alumni office at other universities. We also continuously do our engagements, do meetings, and we use our communication platform, especially our social media, at the very best level. So every week we will post kind of like awareness posters to make sure that our alumni are being encouraged to stay safe, to practice hygiene and all those. So we make sure every week we blast something on social media. All right. A part of that, I think our entrepreneurs group is also, a bit worried about their businesses, because as you all aware, most small businesses are quite impacted during MCO. But having alumni entrepreneurs WhatsApp group really helps, because they support each other. For example, during Ramadan time, we are having this Jom Tapau platform where all the business could register their services, their vendors, and they were able to operate and send their goods and their products to the selected areas. So they work as a group and they support each other. So what Alumni Relation Office did is we provide the right platform for them to register, to promote their products and all those things, so that in another way they will also help to develop their business. They are continually staying connected to our university, and also we are helping them to run their business as well. Okay, other than that, I think I will let Shifa to share on the yayasan part.
Okay. As for Yayasan UTP, I think we're doing what others are doing as well, and mostly the same as what mentioned by Puan Mazna. We are trying to engage especially our donors and also scholars through social media and also emails. We have sent a couple of emails telling our donors that we care about their well-being, and we share about the protective measures on social media and also through emails. And we are trying to share more stories after this, because before this, Yayasan UTP, most of the time we focus more on fundraising. So after this, we are not going to promote so much on fundraising. We would focus on sharing stories about our scholars. And we are also planning to share about how our scholars are coping with the MCO on social media soon. I think that's all. Other than that, Yayasan UTP work with Alumni Office. We conduct fundraising campaign for COVID. And yes, like mentioned by Puan Mazna, we get more response as compared to actually face-to-face engagements, probably because people are more giving more attention to emails and social media these days.
I think we're seeing, thanks Shifa and Mazna for sharing. I think we're seeing something common here across everyone so far, is that we make sure that the communication to alumni continues. So it's not the end of the world. We make sure that they know that we exist. We make sure that we provide them platforms to engage. And we note that alumni are even more engaged now during the MCO. It seems like they feel more empowered. So far I'm getting from those who've already shared. Can we hear from Dika?
Yeah, hi. All right, what we did so far during MCO is there are a couple of things, but sorry, we didn't do any webinar with alumni. What we did was, and still currently doing, is we see that a lot of our alumni are doing CSR programs with the community and the students. So we monitor and supporting them in the effort with the community. And also we get engagement. We get our alumni society to support programs that we have during this MCO. So our alumni society help to aid our students in supplying some food packs during this time, and also for our we have this career talk provided by our career center, which we give to our soon-to-be alumni, and we connect them to our alumni as well. Yeah, that's what we've done so far.
Thanks, Bika. I think
All right.
I think that's good. I'd like to ask more in terms of the CSR programs that you're running. But before
Sure.
that, we'll go to IMU first. Ashraf, would you like to share?
Yeah. I think for us, we don't really have like a super intense initiative, but we do engage with our alumni during this period of time. But I think for the first few weeks, personally, I feel like it was quite a challenge because we have to adjust quickly to the current situation where a lot of physical events have to be postponed. A lot of talks need to be postponed, and then because we have like a few talks lining up for the month, and then we have to quickly adjust. And then we did one talk on a virtual talk online. It's about a career talk, and then that one was good. That one was okay. And then other than that, we are just we help to promote our. We send out a lot of emails basically asking that how are they doing, and then reaching out if you need support. We have our counselors ready for you to talk to, And then because for me and Indu, we came in around 2018, so we are still creating this new culture, and then there are a lot of things that we need to catch up, and then we are still emailing like which one of our alumni is which are part of the frontliner team, and then we to have that database is very crucial, and then we have to quickly adjust to that. So yeah, that part. And then we've been collecting data, and then we've been promoting small businesses from our alumni, who has like a online pharmacy, and then there's one alumni who is also involved in our students' hostel business, where he also provide grocery and everything. So that one of the things, and then the others are like creating more stories, and then I think social media also. Like we also put up some infographics and things like that on our social media. Yeah. So I think
Thanks, Ashraf. It's interesting to hear all the various different things that we're doing. There's a lot of touch points, a lot of things similar, but also a few unique ones. And I think a platform like this is important because so that we can share and steal each other's ideas.
Yeah.
That's what case is about, isn't it? Copy and paste or something like that.
Permission granted.
Not still inspired, but
inspired.
Yes.
Thank you, Ashraf.
Sharing is caring, ma.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring. Not caring, caring. Okay. All right, so I wanted to probe further in terms of the Sunway University initiatives. You mentioned that you're doing virtual networking mixer. How do you run that virtually? Because we know a mixer is a networking event, and physically it's very easy, you just go and mix around, right? And you can maybe structure it in a way that people are divided into groups and they're forced to talk to different groups. But in a virtual room, how do you do that?
I think on my side is how we plan to host it. Actually, the agenda wise is going to have, of course, in the beginning there will be registration, and then there will be there's different type of virtual icebreaker, and also there will be a key representative giving a talk. Then in between itself, we're going to drive in terms of Q&A, where we ask that any example or situation or any case study that they ever encounter. It could be something similar, it could be something different. So during that session itself, we will encourage them to discuss and also to elaborate even further. So actually during this plan, actually what our campus actually, even though if MCO end at 12th of May, but we're also looking at doing after that period of time, we won't be doing real life activity also. We'll keep that distance, we'll have that transition first. And even during that transition itself, we also still will be using e-networking mixer as a platform. Then after that, if things start to subside, then only we'll move it back to live engagement, live networking mixer activities. So in between there, my flow I adjust. I mean, I make accordingly for online and also for live activity. For online, what is more of the usage of Zoom. We could use in terms of the breakout session, where it could be something that is for me to look upon, where we can use according to a breakout session where they can discuss accordingly what are the certain hot topics or certain collaboration they can work upon, or maybe like to really look through like how can they improve or what are the lessons they really learn. It would, in terms of comparison, why it will be very different. I mean, like when we do a networking mixer, if it's live, we can have the personal touch, you know, you can see the facial reaction. But for now, you know, due to your internet can be laggy, you know, everything will be, you know, there's a lot of issues could be happening. But at least we provide the platform to them to engage, and to at least they can have a takeaway point on learning from it actually.
You know, anyone can go ahead and raise any questions if you'd like. I'm just moderating this whole thing, so the conversation should be going back and forth. All right.
Yeah, Rizwan, I have a question for you actually.
Okay.
Yes, you shared earlier about how your business alumni network is very strong and they've come up with all these ideas. So how can you tell us how you formed this group and how did this group come about? How many people? How do you get them so active and engaged?
Well, okay. First of all, I have to tell you that I'm very lucky lah. We just so happened. Okay, when I came into Monash in November 2014, one of the first things that I did was to establish school-based networks, because we didn't have those before. Prior to my joining Monash, we only had a central, alumni engagement association, but that was already disbanded and deregistered from ROS. So I had to basically start from scratch, and I figured that since alumni they have more affinity to people within their batches, so it makes sense to have school-based or faculty-based alumni networks, and it took off lah. And I was lucky in the sense that the first alumni networking session that I had, I introduced this concept, and I encouraged everyone to come forward and say, hey, you want to start a network and all that. And a few of them came. So one of the first ones was School of Business. So that's how this all started. And I was very lucky in the sense that I got a very driven first two people from the School of Business to start the network. And it all just flew from there. And you know, they're very organized in that sense. So even the handover from the first group to the next group to the next group. This is, I think, this is the third president already. It's been very seamless, and you know, they have minutes of meetings and all that. Of course, we sit in the meetings, you know, so that helps. The organization helps to ensure that things keep going lah. But I tell you, our part centrally is very limited. It's really their show. They're doing all the work. It's their motivation, their enthusiasm that's driving the engagement. So we're just in the background and throwing money at them, kind of thing. So that's
money to throw is good.
Got some money lah to throw, but we're not very, how to say, not to say that we're so rich lah, but we also don't show them that we have so much money lah. You know, what we're saying is, you know, okay, do this activity. I approve this proposal, but your funding mechanism needs to be like this. So we need to tell them that, hey, you know, you need to be sustainable. You need to find other sources of revenue. Mind you, we don't charge our events. Most of our events, they don't pay to go in, so they find other ways to run it. Of course, if all else fails, we're happy to fund things, and usually it's okay, it's a success. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Suan.
I think we can ask more later.
Yeah.
I also think just to be mindful of time, we have about 4 minutes to go. So just to indicate that perhaps if we can get agreement from everyone that after this, if we have more in-depth questions to ask, if we can share each other's emails if we want to later.
Sue,
In
sorry,
case we run out of time here.
sorry, I think you're breaking up. I think the connection is not fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think we lost you in the last sentence there. But I think what you're trying to say is that if anyone has any questions, we can still keep in touch by sharing our email addresses.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So let's maintain this network, in other words. Yeah. I have a couple of more questions. I hope we have enough time. I wanted to know more in terms of UTP's Jom Tapau.
Yes.
Is that specifically for alumni, or is that like a university thing?
Okay, Jom Tapau is actually a collaboration. Not only it's not a UTP origin, it's a collaboration between many other universities. If I'm not mistaken, it's like UKM and other IPTS, which I totally forgot what's the name, but it's a mix of collaboration effort by many universities, and they have operated at the North region, Terengganu, and some parts of I think in Selangor. So now we are trying to get more supports from within our community. So when we have get hold of a number of vendors, then we will start operating, and then those who download or install this Jom Tapau apps, they can start using it. So this is the concept of like e-bazaar to support the small businesses, but they must be registered with KMM, and also there are certain regulations that they have to meet with before registering. So it's not a UTP program, but what we do is we collaborate with our alumni entrepreneurs who are we're having the existing connections and networking, so we are using that. And I think one more is like any CSR project, because when we talk about Ramadan, we're also talking about Hari Raya, right? So normally we do CSR like Baju Raya for those who are the unfortunate children. So these alumni also support us in getting not only donations but also platforms on how to buy online for Baju Raya for all these unfortunate children. So I think this is a bit, it's very fantastic and it's interesting to work virtually, and everybody giving support, and I think it's wonderful. I like it when everybody is limited of spaces to move around, but very creative in doing a lot of things while they are at home. So I'm glad with my UTP alumni.
Thanks for sharing,
I think
Masna.
it's so amazing to hear that you raised 50,000 ringgit from alumni. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you must teach us how to do that.
Sure, indeed.
Follow-up question.
I think we just received the message from the administrator that we're going to join the larger group soon, in less than a minute. So I guess I'm not sure if we have enough time for a wrap-up, remarks. But I think we've learned quite a bit from each other. Thanks everyone for sharing all your initiatives. I'm hoping that we can have another session like this in the future. Maybe EAPC can organize this again and talk in depth in terms of how you run things, and maybe even challenges of running specific type of events online, for example. One thing's for sure that I think there's consistency in terms of our approach here is that we never stop communicating to alumni. We're making sure that they are being supported. We're making sure that the university is there to ensure that the alumni engagement is still going on and going strong. So thanks everyone again for sharing. So let's just wait. Okay, there it is. So we're gonna return to the main session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a very fast 45 minutes over at the International School breakout sections. We have really enjoyed ourselves. Even though there's only 6 of us, there was a lot of active discussion, moderated by Lynette. And I'm not too sure about the 2 other breakout sections. I reckon that you'll feel the same. There's a lot of intellectual discussions and sharing sections. And how time flies, the next thing you know, really coming to an end of our roundtable discussions. So without further ado, I would actually like to pass it over to Jennifer, our EAPC chair, who will be doing the closing remarks. And of course, again, we hope that you have benefited. And in the next 1 or 2 days, there will be an email that's being sent out to you all. And we really hope that you could seize the opportunity to join EAPC as a member, because all of us actually work on this voluntarily. So we hope that, and of course, in Malaysia, we do not have this kind of associations that actually gather all the fundraisers, alumni, marketing people, and we hope to make it work. So without further ado, I'll pass it back over to Jennifer to do the closing.
Thank you, Susan. I saw there may be some people in the, no, are we all back? Great. So yeah, I mean, to echo what Susan said in our own session, I think 6 to 9 people in a group is probably perfect. There was a lot of sharing. Everyone is doing, I think, tremendous amounts of work while learning what the new normal is. So one of the things I remember telling my team when I first arrived here in Malaysia is we're building the plane while flying it, which was a common, visual that was used in change management and in other dynamic thoughts. I don't think anyone was quite prepared for how global that image now resonates for people. It truly, truly does. And I think the thing that I heard the most is there's a lot of big questions. A lot of this was at its infancy. It was just sort of starting here in Malaysia, or there had been groups that had been going for a while, and now we were trying to give it a certain level of formality, context for both the schools and the universities. The shift of paradigm and our job scopes, I think, is another thing everyone is adjusting to. But from what I see, these big questions also come from a place of also being able to share hope, which is just tremendous. The people we serve, our communities, have a great deal of knowledge and a great capacity to give, either of their time or of their financial resources. And I think every one of us has been very sensitive as to what is feasible, what is the new normal. I think, again, so we have a few more minutes before we wrap up. So if there are any takeaways, anything anybody wants to share, I think it would be beneficial to have that opportunity here. And understand there's a lot of themes that have come out of every single one of our chat sessions, which I think just feeds the idea of having future versions of this to gather everyone together, whether that be virtual or hopefully at some point in person when it is safe to do so. But really looking at this place, I certainly took a bunch of notes. I think everyone else probably did as well. And I encourage, go back to your team and talk about those things. Come with other ideas. What was sort of that nugget of today that maybe it's something that you can start to put into practice. So those are those big kind of components that it might seem small, but it could just bloom beautifully for everyone. So yeah, I really would like to invite anyone who has a thought or a takeaway that they want to share. I think that's really important because this is the platform to really speak about those things. Don't be shy.
Maybe I'll start the ball rolling. I guess in the international school chat room, there was only Alice Smith School and IRSKL itself. And one thing we realized is that during these unprecedented times, it was interesting to discover that our alumni are much more responsive when it comes to recruitment. Because you know very well that when we are engaging our alumni, all of us are working or in our university kind of thing, time is of essence. So when we're doing online recruitment kind of thing, it takes quite some time for them to come back to us, and things like that. But since everyone is in partial or full lockdowns in every part of the world itself, but the alumni team, our alumni team actually experienced a surge in terms of the membership recruitment. So it's a positive sign. So despite unprecedented times, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So there's one key thing that we discovered, because ISK also shared the same what you call experience, just like the Alice Smith School. And of course, I think another interesting note that have come out from our group is that there is possible collaborations that we can actually look into, because I think most alumni relations departments in education institutions are working in silo. We have not come across any collaborations possibilities. For example, there are some universities that can actually jointly collaborate to do some sort of reunions, or networking opportunity rather than us working in silo. So it's something that we can actually possibly explore further on. And this is what EAPC is all about, providing the platform for all of us who are in the education institutions in Malaysia to possibly try it out. That everything starts from home first. So you want to test it out as a case, and from there we can work on. So these are my 2 cents worth of thought that actually came out from that breakout sections, in the international school sections. And I hope, like Jennifer said, the rest can actually share it, because sharing is caring, and this is what the platform is all about. So make best use of the remaining 5 minutes before we go off.
Thank you, Susan. Again, your 2 cents is always worth so much more, just in the richness of it. And I think, again, collaboration, that has been a word that I think people have fully started to embrace and understand, because the internal stakeholders matter. The alumni taking the lead matters, and how they see themselves. We're stewards, we're guardians of how that gets shaped, but we also need to make sure the legacy and the brand, as we hear a lot about, is well maintained. And I think at this time it gives people a sense of how important was my university or my school to how it shaped my personality and what we're going through right now. And also, as Imam shared, your school is there for you as well to help support you. That's something UTP has been trying to make sure our alumni have an opportunity to reach out, and our students have an opportunity to feel supported from many different corners. So yeah, please, who's next? Just a little share.
So maybe I can chip in a bit. I think what's consistent that we found in our group, and echoing what Susan has said as well, is that we found that the alumni are more responsive now during this time. Citing Monash's examples, that we find that our business alumni chapter is particularly very even more active now, doing a lot of social media posts, coming up with a calendar of activities until the end of the year, sort of thing. And it's similar with the rest of the universities in our breakout room. They are experiencing the same thing. What's consistent also is that we, across all the universities, is that we have not stopped engaging with them, even though there's the MCO. So even with the work from home thing happening, engagement is still ongoing. It can be just as simple as a social media posting, a message saying, hey, how are you doing? Or maybe even tips of how to manage the MCO in isolation. So it can be just as simple as that, and it can be as elaborate as a virtual networking session, which was shared by Sunway. So yeah, just keep it going and moving forward, no matter how long this MCO is going on, even, it's not going to end so soon, trust me, even if the MCO is lifted, it's not going to be back to normal. It's still going to be this way. So it's good that we keep on engaging and we continue to innovate better and new ways to engage with our alumni and each other. So I hope that we all can continue to maintain this network and hopefully grow this network and have even more breakout sessions in the future, delving into specific items to discuss.
Sure. Thank you, Rizwan. And that's so important, I think, particularly to my university colleagues, I would say, how are we thinking about our alumni potentially needing to go back to school? you know, as you know, with some of the things that we're talking about, new educational opportunities might be the path forward for people. But support, what does that look like? And the smallness of it, I think there's a lot of, I know I've certainly had the quantitative statistics sometimes are not as important as the qualitative here. Well, numbers, yes, they matter, but how do we calculate those numbers, that impact, that information, that dissemination? And I think the responsiveness now is maybe a new portion of that metric that we're looking at, because, you know, you send an email out and now you're actually getting responses to your social media posts in a much bigger way. So I think that really speaks to awareness. Sometimes we get a lot coming through, but if our alumni are making it a priority to see what we're posting, we're not just in their mind, we're speaking to something that's helping them on a deep level. So it's so important. And I agree, this is a powerful platform for all of us as advancement professionals. It's a space where you can really share and be very honest. I think sometimes collaboration's great, but we do have to make sure we don't always share too much. Sometimes to our internal colleagues, maybe that doesn't always play well, but this is a space where you can literally say, that didn't work at all. Or, this is amazing, let me share this with you, you know, and just sharing something as simple as something that worked, something you're toying with, and really being open. I think we don't always get that opportunity in a professional space, so it is impactful to have that. As Susan has said, we will be sharing this video for playback. We also hope, if you're not a part of the EAPC, you do decide to become a member. All of us, you know, again, we are volunteers, so we have given of our time to be on these chat calls to figure out the process, but it's been a lot of fun in the sense that it hones other skills that you're going to be having to use while working with your alumni. So it's just another professional development extension. Also, I know how leadership plays on KPI, so it's never a bad thing to have that as well. And also, if you have colleagues that are maybe, a lot of this we know has been KL focused, but if you have colleagues in other places in Penang and Sarawak that we've not, in Sabah that we've not maybe spoken to, feel free to share the information when the video goes out. This is a very open format because again, it's not super formal, it's not rigid, it's it's a startup. It's an entrepreneurial spirit, so all are welcome. And again, thank you so much. I think we are at nearly time, but I truly appreciate your time this morning. I know we're on a lot of these calls, so thank you for joining us. All right.
Thank you.